Hello and welcome back to another episode of Injustice For All MMA. My name is David, and this episode is for UFC 281 Adesanya versus Pereira. Off the bat, this fight delivered. This fight absolutely delivered. This is what I thought 280 was going to be. I thought 280 was going to be this good. It wasn't that good. This fight ended in, I believe, 11 finishes. Let me count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 finishes. 11 finishes. We only had 1, 2, 3. We only had 3 decisions. 3 decisions. This is amazing. I mean, this is beautiful. We love this. There's nothing to talk about in terms of robberies. Nobody got robbed here. But we'll just go straight into the scorecards. Of the scorecards that irked me, I'll say. No injustices. Nobody got robbed. We go straight to the honorable mentions. We got the first honorable mention, Arce versus Jackson. This fight ended in a 30-27. I had it, let me say this correctly. I had this 30-27 for Jackson. I put a close marker on the first round. The description, in the first round, okay, Jackson outstruck Arce on the feet and in the clinch. It was kind of barely, though. They were both throwing in the clinch. Jackson definitely outstruck him on the feet, but in the clinch is where Arce did some work and Jackson did some work. And the round ended in a takedown for Arce at the very end. So this was interesting because Jackson, I felt as though, outstruck him enough to where the takedown was irrelevant. He outstruck him enough in the clinch. He outstruck him enough on the feet to where that takedown at the end that landed doesn't sway the round for me. And that's why I gave it to Jackson in the first round. I put a close marker just in case because I felt as though like you could maybe argue it for Arce. Maybe you could, but I didn't. Second round, Jackson outstruck Arce. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. And then the third round, Jackson outstruck Arce, and he dropped him as well. So that completes that. You go to the judges' scorecards. Brian Minner had a 30-27 Jackson. Saul D'Amato had a 30-27 Jackson. And then Doug Crosby had a 29-28 Jackson. He gave that first round to Arce. I'm not mad about it. Maybe on a different time I probably would be, but it's a close round. You can maybe argue it for Arce. And there you go. Next fight, Kowalkiewicz versus Juarez. I had this 29-28 for Kowalkiewicz. I gave her a 10-9 in the first and the third round. Okay, and then I gave the second round to Juarez. You read the description. Okay. In the first round, Kowalkiewicz got a takedown with some ground and pound. That's her round. Boom. In the second round, okay, Juarez outstruck Kowalkiewicz. Now, it kind of, this round was slowly reflecting what was going to happen in the third round, but a little different. In this second round, it was clear that Juarez was outstriking Kowalkiewicz, but it was very close on strikes. It was almost like they were trading shots, but the cleaner shots were landing from Juarez. And then in the third round, this one was a little bit weird because while they were both landing, the third round, Kowalkiewicz had, I think, the clear strikes, but it wasn't up until the end is where I made my final head verdict, because while they were both landing on each other, it would be occasionally that the clear strikes would come from Kowalkiewicz, but as you were watching it, your head was just leaning towards Juarez because she was outstriking her up until the end, where Kowalkiewicz kind of racked up some strikes towards the end, and then that definitely gave her the round. Another thing that also gave her the round could be that when you're watching it, they said she tripped. If you watch it back, I mean, those count as drops. I don't know what to tell. I mean, it counts as a drop. Honestly, it's not really a trip per se, but it looked to me more like a drop than a trip. And so even if I didn't count the drop towards the end, even after Juarez fell down, and it was close on strikes, Kowalkiewicz still racked up a couple strikes towards the end to where she took that round. So there goes that. You go to the judges' scorecards. Mike Bell had it. He reflects my scorecard 29-28 for Kowalkiewicz. Dasal Diamano reflects my scorecard 29-28 for Kowalkiewicz. And then David Torelli, he gave it 29-28 for Kowalkiewicz, but he gives the second round. He gives the second round to Kowalkiewicz, and he gives the third round to Juarez. I think this is where all the controversy happened, where they were probably checking the scorecards and they were like, okay, I think we put this in wrong or something. Or we still don't know what the fuck happened. But I'm gonna say it's like maybe that was the scorecard error, because it doesn't even make sense to what we watched. And I know this happens occasionally where, we nitpick scorecards, but let's say these are his actual scorecards. Honorable mention to him, because this is, if you watch that second round, Juarez outstruck Kowalkiewicz clearly. There's nothing that should sway you otherwise. And then the third round, Kowalkiewicz outstruck Juarez. So let's say that scorecard is legit, it would be an honorable mention. But if that's what all the hugabaloo was about, then it would still remain the same way. Next, third honorable mention would be Petroski versus Turman. I had this 30-27 for Petroski. I had this 10-9 in all three rounds, obviously. You go to the description, okay? In the first round, it was close on the feet. It's kind of back and forth on the feet, and then Petroski had 2 takedowns, his round. Second round, both had 2 takedowns. They were kind of like, they were both trading takedowns. They were trading takedowns, but when they were on the feet, Petroski was outstriking him. Now, he outstruck him barely, but it was enough to give him the round still. You go to the third round, that's the most definitive round. Petroski had 4 takedowns with some ground and pound, and he had a submission attempt. You go to the judges' scorecards, and Doug Crosby had a 30-27 for Petroski. Dave Torelli had a 30-27 for Petroski. And then Brian Minner had it 29-28, honorable mention for Brian Minner. He had it 29-28 for Petroski. He gave the first round to Turman. Again, it was close on strikes. Yes, it was close on the feet, if I'm reading that back carefully. But Petroski had 2 takedowns. That's clearly enough to give him to give Petroski the first round. You go to the next and last honorable mention. Just to save face here, I'll give myself an honorable mention here, but I'll defend it like I do every time. Last honorable mention, Poirier versus Chandler. Poirier won this fight by submission in the third round, but before that, I gave a 10-9 to Chandler in round 1 and 2. I'm gonna read the description and then I'm gonna explain my rewatch. In that first round, yeah, I'm reading this correctly. Okay, in the first round, Chandler had 3 takedowns, and he outstruck Poirier, and Poirier dropped Chandler. That was the description I wrote down. Second round, Chandler had a takedown with ground and pound for most of the round. Boom. Okay, and then we're gonna read the judges' scorecards. Right, so all 3 judges had it the same way. Eric Colon, Mike Bell, and Saul Diamano all had it where Dustin Poirier won the first round, 10-9, and then Chandler won the second round, 10-9. Now, I'm not going to give an honorable mention to them, but I disagree with that first round scorecard by all 3 judges, and here's why. When I first saw this, when I was checking this and I saw that they gave it all to Poirier, I thought to myself, damn, I scored it wrong. Fuck, I scored it wrong. Shit. I went back to rewatch it, and Chandler is outstriking Poirier. And when you count up the clean strikes, because when you look at the UFC official numbers, I personally don't trust the UFC official numbers. It's a bit wonky at times, especially if you're watching a fight. You're like, those numbers don't reflect what I watched. When you watch it back, Chandler's outstriking Poirier. He's outstriking Poirier. He has that one big punch that launches into a flurry where he kind of racks up punches. Obviously, some are blocked, but when you count it up, what I counted cleanly up to that moment of the flurry to where he gets his first takedown is he's up about, I want to say, 13 to 15 strikes. Clean, right? Maybe if you're a stat guy, you would add more based off the other stuff, but 13 to 15 strikes clean. He gets the takedown. He gets another takedown. This one's kind of like a mat return takedown, but Poirier's up. His butt is off the ground, and then he gets taken back down. That's a second takedown in my book. Then a third takedown happens again. So that's 3 takedowns for Chandler. He's up 13 to 15 strikes. That's when they both kind of land a couple strikes on each other, and then Poirier lands the nice shot that is 30 seconds left in the round that leads to his flurry. You count up his strikes. They are either equal to, like, they're level on strikes, or Chandler's barely up on strikes. And the big punch I'm talking about is when he drops him, and then Chandler immediately gets back up. They're close on strikes. Chandler's been dropped, and Chandler had 3 takedowns. In my head, the knockdown was quick. And the 3 takedowns that he had were very important. I don't think the knockdown just nullified the 3 takedowns that he had earlier, maybe I want to say a minute ago into the round. So in my head, I still scored it the same way. I could be wrong. I may be wrong. I'm probably wrong. I'll take the hit on that one. But all 3 judges had it the opposite way than me. So there goes that. That is all I have. Beautiful card. It ended perfectly. I was sweating throughout the entire thing. I was sweating throughout the Adesanya versus Pereira fight. I was expecting him to finish it out and win, and for some reason it just happened again. It happened again where someone got knocked out who wasn't supposed to get knocked out, and now we're gonna get a rematch. We're gonna get a rematch, probably not in Brazil. That's too quick. That's in January. Probably. Shit. Who knows and who cares? It's gonna be fun, and we're all gonna watch it. Thank you for listening, and God bless.